Hello, another one of my thoughts in a minute. So this is an interesting one really. This is from Pebbles. Hot I am. Pebbles says, Bri, what are your thoughts on the 5 most important realisations that you have had in your 26 years on this earth? So Pebbles says, thoughts on your 5 most important realisations you have had in your 26 years. Pebbles, that's something that possibly could change on virtually on a daily basis, I suppose, couldn't it really? But the 5 most important ones. Life is short. That's probably number 1. Obviously, you know, when you live your life, you lose people in your life. You know, you lose friends, people die, your parents, and everybody you've ever loved or met will eventually die, including yourself. You know, so life is short. So to make the most really of this one short life, you know, try to do some good in the world, I think, in this short life, but just to live it your way, be yourself and live it your way, you know. That's, yeah, probably life is short would be number 1, definitely. Also, yeah, number 2 then, we'll say number 2. Number 2 for me is to learn, to educate yourself, to read, to study, to think deeply, be skeptical, understand things on your terms, cogitate, really think it through, learn. You know, education is important. I know I've slagged schools off forever and I still will. That education isn't the correct education. You educate yourself when you leave school. That's what you do. You step into the real world and then you step into yourself. And you may change along the way, hopefully. And you may grow and mature, hopefully, along the way. The more you learn, the more you think, the more you study, the more you do research, the more you're skeptical and think, no, I don't really believe that. You know, just because it's the norm, because everybody says that's the right way, doesn't mean it's the right way, and perhaps it doesn't mean that it's the right way for yourself, you know. So yeah, I think learning, I think education, and I think education on your level for you really is very, very important, and just do whatever it is for you. Number 3, I would say, is just to be yourself. Be your true self, your authentic self. Really be you, just yourself. There's a version of yourself, right? Reenacted or recreated, probably. A version of yourself recreated in the minds of every single person you've ever met. There really is. And you know, me, there's a version of me recreated in every single person I've ever met. And one person, you may stop in the street, do you know Bri? And they say, yeah, I used to work with him, he's whatever. He's a hard worker, or he's a lazy bastard, or he's you know, thick as pig shit, or he's so clever, or I learned a lot from him, or I learned nothing from him. But there is that version. But you know the true you, and you can only be yourself to you, and hopefully others will attach onto that. They will see that. So be your authentic, true, real self. Oh dear. Number 4. Oh, it's so difficult, isn't it, really? What have I realised, you know, self-realisation? I suppose, I don't know how to word this, what you do today, what you do this year defines who you're going to be in the next 5 years, maybe. Don't know how else to word that. I don't know, it's live, just live in your true nature of who you are, and doing the right things for now, because your future self is watching you through your memories, you know, in a way. That's what's happening. So your future self is watching you now. Imagine that. So you've got to do the right thing for that future self, but you've got to do it today, now. So you've got to live your life in a way to please your future self. What you do now does define who you're going to be. You know, what you do now defines who you are right now. Of course it does, because people see the shape of you now. But that bleeds on into somewhere into the future. So, yeah, I think your future self, like I say, is watching you through your memories that you're making now, that you're creating now, you know. Number 5, I haven't got a number 5. You asked for 5, didn't you? I just keep going back to, like, being yourself. Yeah, I think that is so important, you know. There's people in my life that really like me. There's people that really appreciate me. They get me. They understand me. They perhaps appreciate who I am, what I am, what I've been through, who I am now, and what I'm heading towards. Perhaps they've got an understanding of all of that. But there are also the other side of that. There are people that can't stand me. They hate me. Not quite sure why they hate me, because I think I'm a decent enough guy. But they see me, I mean, obviously they only see me in their own head. So it says more about them than it does about me, quite clearly. But, you know, they distrust me for some reason, or they really don't like me for some reason. It's all a made-up thing within their own heads, though. You know, so it doesn't matter, either camp. You either like me or you don't like me, and really it doesn't make any odds. It really doesn't make any odds, because all I can do is be my true self. All I can do is be honest, open, authentic, real. That's all I can. Now, if you latch onto that and you think, yeah, I really get that and I really understand that, then you're going to like me. But if you can't see past any of that, if you think, pardon me, if you think there's no ulterior motive to me, you know, if you think I don't know, if you think I'm making these videos because I want it to massage my own ego so I feel fantastic about myself, I mean, that obviously is totally wrong. I've got a very small group. I've got a very small YouTube channel. I've got very few people that watch. How many people will watch this video? 100, maybe 200, possibly 300. That's about it. That's all I want. It doesn't need any more than that, does it? Because I think the 200 people that watch are the 200 people that are awake, that are open, that are perhaps intelligent enough to understand, you know, that there's a different view of life, there's a different opinion, there's a different way of being and seeing and thinking and doing. You know, they're the people that I'd like to be able to reach by making this video. It's not about me. It's not about massaging my own ego or whatever. I don't have to make these videos. I choose to make them, you know. I'm not driven really to make them in any particular way, shape or form. It's a hobby, it's an interest, it's something that I like to do. But I think the small amount of people that watch really get where I'm coming from. They really understand. And that to me is phenomenal. You know, that's wonderful. The rest, well, they can just fall by the wayside because they're not important. So I haven't really got a fifth, but if I had a fifth, it would kind of encapsulate all that in some way, you know. Probably then a fifth is to have people around you that are on your wavelength, that understand you, that respect you, that you value. Yeah, they got different opinions to you, but you value their opinions and ideas and their thought processes and all the rest of it, you know. So maybe, yeah, that's number 5 then, isn't it? Is just to have people around you that you do value, you really value. Yeah, that'll do. I think that's number 5. I struggled there, Pebbles, if I'm honest. I did struggle. As I said, it might change. You know, if you ask me that question tomorrow or next year or 10 years' time, it may well change, mightn't it, really? And that's fine, because things should. But yeah, what I've learnt so far, really, in my 26 years is just that, really. You know, that, yeah, life is short. Is to certainly be yourself. To educate yourself as much as possible, on your terms, your level, not school and stuff like that. You know, you've got... People are very narrow-minded, very one-dimensional sometimes. They hear something and they believe it, so that's their truth, that becomes their truth. Or they read one book on one particular subject and that's it. That's it as far as they're concerned. There's no other way of thinking it through. You know, I'm more in favour of reading a book and taking it all in, thinking it through in my own way, coming to terms with it on my way, then maybe watching some videos how other people thought about it, or different takes on that book, or whatever thing was in that book, how it's changed people's lives or made people's lives better or worse, or things like that. Having open conversations with friends about that particular mindset that comes from that book, and then making up my minds about it, really. You know, not to over complicate anything, not really, but just to be sure of my own thought patterns, my own way, my own reflections on, say, that book. We're just talking about a book. It could be anything. It could be a form of teaching or whatever. But, you know, just to really get the answers, the correct answers for you, really, you know, because the answers probably could be different for everybody on certain ideas, concepts, opinions, whatever, you know. But yeah, I think most important probably out of all those is to always try to be your true, authentic self. Fucking hell. Don't know what that was. Made me jump though. I'll be back later. Cheers, Pebbles. Take care. Ta-ra then.